welcome back to episode 113 of Talkoffamepod podcast with your host, Kyliemontigney. I'm so excited to have on the founder and CEO of Etre Girls, Illana Raia. Thanks so much for coming on.
Hi, thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
How did you kind of come up with the idea of starting Etre Girls?
So it's Etre, actually, which is the French word for to be. And I named it that really because I like the idea of asking girls who they want to be. Not necessarily what they want to be, but like who, what kind of girls. I came up with the idea when I was actually working. I was a lawyer before I did all of this. And when my daughter was in middle school, I realized that she didn't know what I did every day. And as I talked to other friends of mine who had amazing jobs, you know, they were CEOs and news anchors and surgeons. And we all started to say, none of our girls really know what we do. And, you know, because they don't see us at work. And we thought this is really easy to fix. And so I started taking my daughter at a really young age to see my friends at work in action, to see what they did. And she loved it. And the women loved it. And then later, you know, after my daughter was much older and I retired from law, I started thinking I could do this with other girls. Like, why aren't all girls, if they're interested in finance, going to the stock exchange? If you're interested in music, why can't I bring them to Spotify? So I launched this in 2016. It really did start with my daughter.
That's amazing. Like, did you ever intend to make this kind of like your life's mission?
Never.
Or is it something that you
Never.
were like, okay, well, this is something like because of my daughter, I started to do?
100% no. I'm the most unlikely founder ever. I didn't go into it with a big business plan. I knew I wanted it to be free for girls always. And I knew I was lucky that I had a really great network of female friends willing to open doors to say, yes, bring girls to come see me. That really made it easier. Then I started cold emailing people. But in the beginning, no. Did I think that it was going to have after school clubs in 5 countries? Definitely no.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, did you go to school to be a lawyer or?
Yes, I went to law school. I went to college, and I went to law school straight afterwards. And then, you know, I was with the same law firm for about 15 years and I loved it.
Oh,
Loved
really? 15 years?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. So how
Yeah.
did you how has mentorship helped you with your journey with your organization?
Well, it's a great question because I was really lucky at my law firm and I had great mentors. You know, you finish law school, you start on your first day and you just don't know anything. And I had an amazing woman as my very first mentor, Nancy Lieberman. And so she was a huge impact on me. I think mentorship at every stage of your life, whether you're in high school or college or starting a job or mid-career and switching jobs, mentors are crucial because it's different than a friend and it's different from a coach or a teacher or something like that. A mentor pushes you outside of that comfort zone and says, I'm not here to cheerlead you or tell you you're amazing all the time. I'm here to challenge your assumptions, to make you move outside of that which you normally, you know, feel comfortable in, to present you with new opportunities, to champion you. And I think mentors, or even little mentor moments, like if we go to a company and you spend 20 minutes with a panel of women, they might not be your lifelong mentors, but mentor moments are crucial because they give you the confidence and the vision to see what's possible.
Exactly. Yeah, like when I was a young girl, I literally had no idea what I was gonna be, and nor did I literally never see myself in the world. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna be when I'm older. I feel like I should know by now when I was young. I said I
Oh.
and like I was like, yeah, I'm like, why do I not see people like me? Like I don't have a mentor, I don't have anything. And like that's why mentors are so important, no matter how old you are. And no matter, even if you're really young, like 5 years old, it's so important to get a mentor at that young age because like you are starting to kind of grow up and be like, okay, well, I don't know where I'm gonna be. I don't have a mentor. Like I need to figure out what's going on in my life. Because if you don't, that's probably gonna be a bigger problem when you're getting older.
Totally. It's such a great point. And, you know, a mentor will let you see what's possible and will also say, you know, I have other people to introduce you to. A mentor's just an expert in that which you want to get better at. So if it's news journalism for you, meeting with a number of news journalists, getting a chance to ask them questions is very empowering for you. And it shows them that the next generation's ready to come up and do this stuff. I think mentorship is just very, very empowering. And you're not supposed to know exactly what you want to do when you're young, but seeing the options, seeing what's possible I could be an archaeologist. I could be an astronaut. I could be anything. Seeing it early is just crucial.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like with Gina Davis's institute, I'm sure you know what that is. Like her institute, like it's like that's why like I love her institute so much is that like
Mhm.
she really started her organization because she didn't like when she was watching TV shows with her daughter when she was 2 years old, she like like she immediately knows there's no that woman doing all these things. And
Yeah.
I'm like that's luckily like I'm not the only person that's seen this because when I was very young at a young age, I never see myself. And now like when I watch television I with my parents or something, I'm like, Mom, this do you see what's happening here in this scene or
Yep.
something? And like
Her
that's
organization is so great. For anyone who's listening, it's the Gina Davis Gender and Media
mhm.
organization. They were one of our very first events. They invited us to something at Google with Ms. Marvel. And we got to meet a ton of people from National Geographic and Sesame Street. And the president of Gina Davis's organization's in our new book, Madeline
Oh really?
Denona.
Madeline, do you know?
Yep, you got to find her quote. She's fantastic. But
Mhm.
it's so great that you're watching TV and movies through the lens that Gina
Mhm.
Davis is giving you, because it makes you a much more sophisticated viewer.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like so relieved that like I seen like someone talk about. I'm like, oh my God, I never knew this was a problem, but like this is like I luckily like I didn't know what gender bias was or gender equality, those type of
Mhm.
terms until I was probably like 14, 13 years old. And so
Mhm.
yeah, luckily, like from their lens, I'm like, okay, well, thank God there's people like that that do those things. Even though I don't know Gina Davis personally, wish not gonna lie, I wish I would. But like, it's
I feel
like,
like that could happen for you.
hey, you may never know, right? But it's like we need more people that could do that, and like
Mhm.
more mentors because not a lot of people know about what's going on and what's going on in the media for girls and everything.
It's true. They developed something that they describe as like spell check for bias, where
Yes.
you can put different shows through it and see where is their bias, where is their imbalance. And it's so smart.
It really is. And so like back in March, you released the Epic Mentor Guide, like
Mhm.
which was launched on the Today Show. The book
Yep.
offers advice for the next generation of female leaders. Like what
Yep.
do you kind of hope people can take away from this book, especially young girls?
The book is like a volume of 180 mentor moments. And it's funny because it came out of COVID. Normally, what Etre does, as you know, is we go into companies to meet female leaders face to face. So we
Mhm.
go directly into places like Google or YouTube or NBC or Spotify, and we meet women. So when COVID hit and we couldn't, girls were still asking questions. And so the book became a collection of, looks like this.
Oh my
Um,
God, I love that.
and yes, we'll make sure that you have a copy. Um, Girls were asking questions from all over the world. How can I get my art seen at Pixar? How can I use TikTok to network? How do you get an internship at SpaceX? And then we had women at all those companies answer the questions. And so what I hope people take away from it, and what I've seen in the last 8 months that people are doing, is people who are your age, who are looking at the workforce, entering first internships, first jobs, are really getting very practical advice. They're getting practical advice from founders, like people who founded the Skim, or the founder of Pop Sugar, the founder of Dylan's Candy Bar. They're getting really large scale advice from people like Bobby Brown, Tyra Banks, women in finance, women in STEM, to say, these are the steps I took to get that job. Here's what I think you should put on your LinkedIn profile, because I work at LinkedIn. Really granular, practical advice. But then too, for women who are sort of pivoting in their career, or someone who's in her 20s who's like, oh, I thought I wanted to do this, but I want to go in a whole different direction. There are so many women who say, Dawn Porter, I was a lawyer, and then I decided I didn't want to do that, and now I make movies with Oprah. The idea that you can change the direction of your career, it's a really great manual for quick advice. All the pieces of advice are like 3 to 5 lines. And the best way that I think that girls are using it, which I'm so happy about, is every single woman in the book, all 180, gave a social media handle wherever they spend their time. So Twitter, TikTok, Insta, wherever, so that girls can connect with them and say, I saw your quote in this book and I have 5 more questions. I saw this and I wanted to know something else. So it's a book that you don't just read it once. you can flip through it and say, oh, right, finance, I have another question. Sports management, I have another question. And so I think that people are really using it to further their goals with advice from women who are already there.
And what are some people that are featured in the book if people are interested?
Oh my gosh, there's a skydiver, there are women in construction, there's archaeologists, news anchors, so many women, Hoda Kotb from the Today Show, so many women that Nancy Lieberman from sports, Kim Ang, the general manager of the Marlins, Lily Ledbetter, for whom the Equal Pay Act was named. Just amazing women, one after the other. So many that I couldn't, when we did the table of contents, it was impossible to group them or rank them because all of them were so famous, Olympians and NASA astronauts. And so I did it alphabetically by their first name because I figured it was just this rock star list. There was no way to possibly group them.
Yeah, like that's the hardest part. Like, how many people total are in there?
180.
180.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and we had so much fun with it too, because most of the women that we approached said, yes, absolutely. Or if they didn't think they had the right answer, they would give me to someone who did. Oh, you have a question. Someone asked a question about getting a sketch on Saturday Night Live. And so I reached out to the executive producer. She's like, oh no, you need a writer. And she gave me to Sudie Green, who's in the writer's room. Amazing women from Billboard and from all of these places. If you had a question about making music videos or music festivals, and every woman said yes.
That's amazing. Like how, if people are really kind of struggling to kind of find confidence, why is that? Like, why do girls kind of struggle with confidence and self-doubt?
I think that all of us, I've been that age. Every woman in this book and every woman who hosts us at a company remembers what it's like to be in middle school, to be in high school, to be in college. Those memories never fade. And so when girls can lose their confidence, right now at age 14, girls are 20% more confident than they were 5 years ago. We just did a study on this. So at 14, girls are really confident. They're describing themselves as smart and confident and happy and creative. But what's happening is between the ages of 14 and 18, it's dropping. Girls are not calling themselves confident or smart. Yeah. At age 13, 42% of girls that we surveyed, this is a big national survey, said that they described themselves as confident, and only and only 28% of girls at 18 describe themselves as smart. There's a drop off in confidence that's happening. And yet 86% of the girls said they'd feel more confident if they had a mentor. So me, regardless of why the confidence drop happens, right? And there's a million reasons. Middle school's hard, high school's hard, social media, the pandemic didn't help. The one thing that girls are saying across the board that's increasing their confidence, that's making them feel more protected and more empowered, is a mentor. 86% of the girls across the country said that. 93 of them said they'd feel more comfortable in finance with a mentor. 86% said it for STEM, 69 said it for sports. No matter what the vertical was, when girls are feeling insecure or a lack of confidence, mentorship seems to be the thing that can stop it. And that was so meaningful to me.
Yeah, exactly. That's why mentorship is really the most important thing, because obviously, people sometimes like to do things on their own, but mentorship is really the key if you want to give some advice on what you want to do. As to say, if you want to be pursue a career in STEM, let's just put that example. If you really don't know who to go to, just email some exclusives or your connections and try and see if you can get a mentor, get advice. And for me, first, when I started this whole thing at 14 years old, I had no idea what I was doing. I had zero confidence. I literally had no idea what I was doing. And even though I had two journalists in my family, I'm I don't want to go to them, bother them, even though they would love to help. It's just sometimes people don't like to go out and ask for help. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But, in part because that takes some confidence, right? It's a scary thing to go up to someone you don't know and say, I really admire you and I'd love your help. I'd love your advice. But you are such a confident person. Any girl watching you is going to say, oh, I didn't know that I could have a podcast. I didn't know that I could interview interesting people and have a website and a social presence. You're mentoring people maybe without even realizing it, because they're watching you and saying, if she can do it, I can do it. And that is that's the good side of peer pressure. That's a great thing to say, look at me as an example. And if I have a podcast like this, interviewing people, you can too.
Exactly.
Those are mentor moments that you're giving younger girls.
And like when I started my organization earlier in the year, like about like ending gender bias inclusion in the media, I literally like as time went on, I'm like, this is the best thing ever. Like it's meeting people, just like been busy, like this is like the best thing. But as like time went on, I'm like, oh my God, running a business with myself, doing it all, everything by myself, and just posting on social media, making connections, partnerships, events, studies, like you name it. And like all that like with one person, just running the company and doing all the work is absolutely insane. And like with running a podcast and then running all these things, I'm sure you feel that as well. You're like, oh my God, like doing all these things at once is absolutely crazy.
It's a lot. And you have to prioritize, which I'm sure you do. You have to make a list and say, these are the must-dos today. And these are the, if I can get to them, things today. And it's all got to be good at the end of the day. I think the thing is, and I can tell from talking to you that what you do brings you joy. And that for me is the big thing, is that every day I get up and I'm excited to talk to girls, and I'm excited to connect them to mentors and help them do a TED Ed talk or start their own nonprofit. These are things that bring me joy every day. And so it doesn't feel as overwhelming, because in my head, I've got a little list of what needs to happen. But at the end of the day, I'm looking to advance you. I'm looking to make sure that you make the connection to springboard the things you want to do. And that never feels like work. Not yet. I mean, I'm 6 years into it and it doesn't feel like work yet.
Yeah, it still hasn't?
No, it really is. It's a happy thing. There are busy times. We do TED Ed talks. I do one class a year because we're a licensed TED Ed club. And so it's really terrific. I had half of our class this year in India and half in the US. And I want to take so much time with each girl, helping her write her talk, edit it, practice it. And with time zones and all of that stuff, it was really busy. But every single talk was so empowering. You would be a great person to do a TED talk. You would love it. The topics were so interesting. The girls were so impassioned. And I kept waiting to feel overwhelmed, and I didn't. It was just a really terrific experience for me and hopefully for them.
Like how can my people sign up for TED Talks if like they're interested?
So on our website, it's etregirls.com, ETRE girls.com. If you look at the Be Involved tab, there's a bunch of different things. So Etre TED Ed is one of them. And we're going to start signing people up for the 23 class. So that would be great. They just fill out a form. What would you like to talk about? It's okay if they don't know, because part of our process is to help you find a topic that you love. And there's other ways to get involved with Etre. They can join the board. You can start a club at your school or just a local community club. There are a million ways for people to get involved with Etre. Just go to the website, or if you're on Insta at Etre Girls, follow us, and then all the links in bio have all the ways to get involved.
Amazing.
And TED Ed is great. TED Ed's terrific. We're only in our second year of TED Ed, and it's been fantastic.
I love that. And so like before you said that you guys recently came out with a study of 1,000 plus girls in the United States about confidence and why mentorship matters.
Yep.
In your opinion, why does mentorship matter in people's lives?
I think it's because mentors don't underestimate you. And it's a really great question that you're asking. A mentor is going to refuse to underestimate you. A real mentor who understands what you want, and they're the right person. They're aligned. They're an expert in the thing you want to do. They have the willingness and the time to give you. That mentor will never underestimate you. And it's really easy for girls in middle school, high school, college to be underestimated. And you know your worth, and you know that you're going to do amazing things. And it's very easy for the rest of the world to think you're too young, you don't have a voice yet, you can't vote, you don't have opinions about these things that, of course, girls everywhere are changing the world right now with their opinions and platforms like you have, and ways to get their feelings out to the world. A mentor will champion that. And I think sometimes that exactly when you feel like your confidence is lowest, or you don't have access to the microphones that you need to be heard, a mentor's going to get you there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a mentor is going to just never underestimate you. And I think that's really important for girls' confidence early.
Mm-hmm. And like, if people like are interested in becoming a mentor, people that are looking to like find a mentor, how can they do that?
So same thing on our website, etregirls.com. On the Be Involved tab, there's Be a Mentor. So if people want to sign up and be a mentor and they say, oh, I have expertise, I have time to give, I would love to talk to girls about what I do every day. And you don't have to be in your profession to be a mentor. College athletes make amazing mentors for girls who are younger in sports. Someone who's in student government in college is a great mentor for someone who's running for student government in high school. There are a million ways you can empower somebody younger than you. So yeah, on our website, be a mentor.
And it's like, why, like, how do like each of girls even offers lunch and learns? Like, how, can you tell us more about that?
Yes, the lunch and learns were very early at Etre when I was describing how we go into companies to meet women. I'm based in New York, so most of the lunch and learns that we've done have been in New York. We did one in LA with Tyra Banks, which was amazing. But most of them have been in New York because I'm here and my network's here. What we realized during COVID, in addition to doing the book, we realized that girls still wanted to interact with women in companies, but we couldn't go. So we started doing them virtually. So the lunch and learns during COVID went virtual. They were just mentor pop-ups. And we met with women from Disney and Billboard and the space station. And that's how girls in other countries started getting involved. They started finding them and joining them. So I think our lunch and learns, we're back live. In October, we were just at TikTok. In January, we're going to NASDAQ. But in addition, we do these virtual ones. So no matter where you are, if you're in Pennsylvania or Peru or wherever you are, you can join these virtually and still be face-to-face with a female leader. And so that the virtual aspect of the lunch and learns is new for us, but it's been really important in addition to going into the companies live.
Like, when's like the next like lunch and learns you guys are hosting?
We're going to NASDAQ in January. And then we've got a couple more things that are they're not set yet, so I can't talk about them yet, but probably also in January, February, and March. And then girls who've started a club at their school, they can do them anytime. I have some clubs that meet once a week. We have some clubs that meet once a month or once a quarter. And they basically email me to say, we want to talk to a surgeon. We want to talk to a news journalist. And then I help them arrange those Zoom meetings. And those are happening all the time.
That's amazing. And the final question I have for you is, how has like kind of female mentorship changed over the pandemic?
Another great question. So one of the things I mentioned, right, we went virtual. Women, instead of being in the room, we were in the Zoom. One positive, I will say a little silver lining to COVID, was that people were on their devices more independently. When we wanted to reach out to someone to schedule a Zoom or to be in the book, we didn't have to go through a lot of PR agencies or assistants or things like that. Everyone was on their device all the time. I could DM someone on Instagram and get her answer right away. And so that aspect of mentorship, it's a big reason we put the social contacts in the book. People are answering their own DMs right now. They are very available one-to-one, and that makes mentorship a lot quicker to access and then a lot more authentic to maintain. So I think people are much more available right now after COVID.
And like, how has, like, for you, like, how has like running your organization and work with young girls and older women, like how has that kind of helped you in kind of parenting your own kids?
No, that's good. I love these questions. My kids are older. My kids are in their 20s. One's in med school and one's in law school. And I'm very encouraged because the networks that they are creating on their own, the LinkedIn communities, the people in senior positions that they're reaching out to are really helping them. So I'm watching in real time how my kids in their 20s are networking at the early start of their careers and seeing how mentors are responding to them. And that makes me so happy because I'm seeing it on the younger side, but to see them grow with mentors at their side, mentors who aren't me, mentors in the professions they're in, is very, very rewarding. So I don't know if it changed how I parent, but it changes the joy with which I watch them as a parent.
And so I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Thank you so much. You seriously are amazing. And I seriously love what you're doing. And just thank you so much for coming on again. And
Thank you
keep
for
up the
having me. And I love what you're doing. Stay doing it. And you're great at it. And I had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And we'll definitely catch up soon. Keep up the good work.
Okay. Thanks.
Bye.